Hey guys, I was asked by a friend to do a short video on the positions box that I've made and that I use for, positions training with my Doberman. Very similar to a few of the positions boxes that you see online. Although I modified the design just slightly so that the base can actually be removed and you can fade the bottom, so you could take it to the park, you could have it on grass when it's raining. Basically, as you can see, it comes all apart. There's two sides, a front and a small piece of aluminium angle that bolts the back together just to keep it nice and firm. So what I'll do, I'll assemble it and then I'll just show you the various stages of, starting to fade the sides, you can fade the front and fading the bottoms. And then I'll just run the tape measure over it and get some sizes. So if you want to make something similar at home or ask a handy friend to knock something up for you, should be able to do it. Okay. So basically, there's one side here, and the second side is here. Now what I did do with the bottom is I did dowel one edge and put some holes in the other side so that when the two pieces push together, it's just nice and stable so that it won't, warp out of shape because there's no support across the bottom. Quite easy to do and just gives it a little bit of extra strength. So basically, for this position box, just push the bottom together as so. Sides fold up. You then have our front piece that bolts the two sides together. By the way, this is checked into just a little bit of aluminium C-channel here. Again, it just gives it a little bit of rigidity and it allows for the box to be pulled apart. Simply with that, I just have two M6 bolts and a butterfly nut that goes on the front. One, two. It's pretty much almost it. And then on the rear, as I mentioned before, just to make it a little bit more sturdy, again, just another piece of aluminium C-channel. And it just goes across the back. And again, just two M6 bolts and some nuts just to make it nice and sturdy. Realistically, it's probably a little bit of overkill, but it just ties the back of the box together because it does come apart and those two pieces do open up. It's just a little bit of strength across the rear of the box there. Again, can all be assembled by hand and we'll see how long the video goes for, but I'm sure it'll be 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, I'll turn it this way so you can have a bit of a look from the back, and that's pretty much it, guys. Little roll of carpet, again, depending on how sensitive the dog is. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So all we've got here is two little latches, nice and neat. So one side the second side. Fade the front if need be. And fade the front sides as well. And very, very easy, very simple. Front comes away, and then we've just got him there. So the difference with this box is that I mentioned from the ones that I've seen online, I hinge the sides in such a way that the base can now be faded as well, so you can take it to the field, wherever, concrete, asphalt, whatever you're training, whatever you want to do, you can fade the bottom. Especially, I know a lot of people talk about proofing their dogs in all weather conditions. Maybe your dog doesn't want to down in long, wet grass. I know Luther isn't overly keen, so I'll be using this when we get to that stage. So you can take him out whilst it's raining, have the bottom in it at the start, condition him to that, fade the bottom, get him in the grass. So to fade the bottom, we just have to remove this wee bit of kennel. Okay. And that's the position box with the bottom faded. So it's pretty simple. So guys, that's about it. The only thing with the bottom removed from the box is that the rear two sides, they can't be folded back. The hinges just won't allow it to fold back that way. I'll now throw it back together and I'll just grab some measurements. Should give you a bit of an idea on sizing. I'll grab the tape, we'll run through some sizing. I know everybody these days, with everything that they see on the internet, they are very curious and need to know the dimensions. It's going to vary on what size dog you have. This would probably work, I guess, for your German Shepherds, Rottweilers, Dobermans, any of the larger breed working dogs, Malinois, maybe a smaller Mallee. You might want something a little bit smaller. It's up to you. How cramped do you want your dog to be? To get my measurements for this, basically, I just put Luther into a Platz and just held the tape measure across his back and maybe gave 2 centimeters each side and a little bit lengthways as well. So again, centimeters here in Australia, not inches or feet. You have to do the conversion yourself. So internal width of this one is 35 centimeters. External width, because of the width of the timber, is 39.5 centimeters. Length, internal, we're looking at 108 centimeters, and external is 110 centimeters. Height, again, these sides probably don't need to be as high, depending on the height of your dog. The reason they're this high is because the timber pallets from work, the packaging boxes were like this. I didn't have to cut it. It's just nice and simple. So height, we're looking at 18 centimeters height. Other than that, guys, cost-wise, you're probably looking at, if you were to go to your local Home Depot, we call it Bunnings here in Australia, and buy all of the materials, you might be looking around maybe $70 to $100, I would say. I think the most expensive thing here, if you were to purchase, would be the timber. Plenty of scrap timber about. If you can find some slats, pallet, knock it apart, make something up, it saves you a lot of coin. And the aluminium channel is a little bit expensive as well. Again, you don't need to do that, you could screw it to the front, but for ease of disassemble, the aluminium channel and just a couple of M6 bolts and nuts make it very, very easy. So looking at the hardware, guys, on each side, we've got 2 sets of hinges, so 4 on total on one side. We've got our hasp that bolts together. Moving around to the front, just the 2 bits of aluminium C-channel and bolts and nuts to secure. Around to the other side, and likewise 2 hinges on each piece, so 4 in total, and the hasp. So very easy just to undo, fade aside. And the rear, just so that you can see, again, just a little bit of C-channel, a couple of bolts, hand tight just to tie it together, and the dowels that were up the centerpiece there. But all in all, if you've got a little bit of skills, a little bit handy, you should be able to knock it up yourself. If not, yeah, local man shed, carpenter, friends, retired father or brother or grandfather who likes to do a little bit in their spare time, should be able to knock one up pretty easily for you. Timber wise, I did have the question about sealing. I didn't worry about sealing this. The timber is, I guess, like a plantation pine. It's not going to rot unless you leave it outside in the weather for a year. If you're putting it away inside, it's going to be fine. I didn't worry about putting any, I guess, volatile stains, finishes, etc. Just might impact on the dog when they're working in there. So wrapping up, guys, hope you found it useful. Hope it may give you some ideas, I guess, if you want to go ahead and make your own positions box. Just little things that are done differently. There's not a lot of information. I remember when I was looking, there was only a few images. Probably one of the ones that I used at the start of the post. I read a thread or 2 on, I think, a working German Shepherd page. That was some photos there, and that was about it. So again, nice and simple. Hope you've enjoyed. We'll see you again.